Easy E, how are we?
Shawnee, under pressure, 2 weeks to moving day.
I can imagine so. I can imagine you're under pressure with that. Question for you. Have you ever heard of the Abilene paradox?
Yeah, sorry? Excuse me?
It's something I came across recently. Don't worry.
Where's she from?
Where's she from? This ties into running. So basically, it's a situation where a group make a decision that is contrary to the desires of the group's members because each member assumes the other person approves of it. So, to bring this back into the running, because it's the Any Given Day podcast, I was doing the Clane GA 5K, which is literally outside the work door on the weekend. There's also a 10K just down the road, which makes sense to story in a second. Both of them started on bang on 10 o'clock, come straight out of the car park, and as we're all going right down the road towards town, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that I looked at the email the day before, and we were supposed to go left outside the gate and all head up that way. But I thought, sure, if there's 200 people or so going right, I'd be an idiot going left, so I may as well follow the group. And I'm jogging down going, I'm pretty sure we're going the wrong way. And others are having the same conversation. I'd say at least half the group had probably done this race before. We all knew we were going the wrong way. And yet, on we went. And sure enough, we got down to the Aldi tree, just like sheep down the road and everything. And then all of a sudden, we got down to where the 10K was supposed to start. And the organisers must have saw the 5Ks heading down towards them going, what the hell are they doing coming this way? Turn around. So next thing I know, because I'm not fit, I was nowhere near the front of the line, so you can't blame me.
You were leading the race.
I was not. I wish I could say I was. They just turned around themselves like, oh, wrong way. Came back to all the stewards at the gate going, what did you do, lads? We're sorry about that. Back to the start of the race, and off we went again, going left. A couple of minutes later, I was like, this is brilliant. I'm going extra miles in the legs. And I was also excused for not getting a PB that day. I was delighted myself. Because a PB was not happening.
You burnt yourself out in that 200 meters. So.
That was it. Yeah, 300 meters down the road and 300 meters back, Eric. I had a a good extra mileage that day. I earned my medal that day. I was very happy with it. Small miles, easing back in. But after this podcast episode, I'm a lot more motivated. I need to get back into the running properly because time's running out for me towards getting a decent time for that Dundee 50K. And if I need to get motivated, so I need to listen to this week's guest of the Any Given Day podcast.
Yeah, this week's guest is a great one. It's one that, again, it's just a great ambassador for the sport. It's just great to talk to so many people who just love training, who just love doing things, hearing their stories. And this one is a long one, but I promise you, it's a great one. Have a listen.
Let's go. So this week on the... Yeah, just about to record there now, Anthony.
Go.
Anthony's trying to get into it. So I had this big deal building you up about how you were like the Irish Duathlon 2023 champion in 22. You're the Irish Sprint 2023 champion, and you also coach as well with Smart Endurance. But before we get into all that and talking about your triathlon season, you're building up to your marathon next year, Eric had a lead-in question. We're just going to go straight into it.
What happened to your eye? For those who can't see.
Yeah. So I wanted to get this out of the way early. I was down in Westwood Gym yesterday, and me and my videographer, Adam, who's my mate, he used to be a kickboxer. I used to do a bit of boxing, and he's always at me. And I was doing a bit of a gym session with him yesterday, and he wouldn't take the instructions on. Yeah, and he was like, do you want to go in for a spar? And I was like, yeah, right, let's go. And then we went in and done about 20 minutes. And it was lighthearted enough. We had the buzz, but then I underestimated him for a few seconds, and he got through with 3 crisp ones and caught me, and just clipped the eye a little bit. But it looks a lot worse on this webcam. It looks a lot worse on the webcam than it actually does.
That's a screenshot for the podcast going up on Instagram this week. Just you doing that with the eyebrow. Speaking of boxing and conditioning, I have to, because it's fresh on my mind. I stayed up last night. It's late for me. But watching the Katie Taylor fight, the conditioning, and there was times late in that fight where it looked like she had nothing in the tank and came out with a flurry of punches. How?
Look, she's like that in all of her fights. Do you know what I mean? If you watch that one where she was in Madison Square Garden with one Amanda, I don't know her second name, it was an absolute war again. She always goes to war and always starts very early, high volume from the get-go, and then the back end is just, she manages to pull it out of the bag sometimes. And yeah, she's crazy to watch. I went to the last one. I was at the last one.
In May.
And then I went, and it was a bit of a letdown. Like, my mate Thomas, so Thomas Cardy is a mate of mine. I'd been in the gym with him a lot. He won, but I was like, Gary Cully, I went to the toilet, came back, Gary was at the lose, and I was like, and then Katie lost, and then I was like, oh man, do you know what I mean? And then they all managed to pull it out of the bag last night. Looked great.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Did you have a bit of feeling there where you're like, I wish I was there for that one because the atmosphere looked unreal?
Yeah, it looked unreal. Especially at the end, because I know what it was like to be there on the day when they didn't pull it off. But yeah, last night looked like a proper buzz, yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. And it's one thing as well to, like, we talk about the mental aspect and we get into the mental aspect of triathlons and Ironman and all of those kind of things you've done, but the mental aspect to keep going when someone else is punching back is definitely a different animal for strength and conditioning, and that mental willpower is unbelievable. Those last couple of rounds last night, I was watching behind the pillow. I was scared for it. Everyone looked wrecked. The two of them looked out on their feet, and still going at it. I was like, oh my God, this is probably one of the greatest boxing nights I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, she always sticks on a show. She really does. She goes to war, has some knocks. Boxing's a mad game.
How did you go from boxing to triathlons?
I ended up boxing. It wasn't a straight transition. It was like I went from boxing, I then ended up going to the gym every day, lifting weights to get in shape for holidays and things. And then I ended up in triathlon then probably about 5 years. There was a bit of a 5-year buffer period between boxing and triathlon.
And the conditioning between the two, is it like to be constantly go? Did that help you go into triathlons, that conditioning, or it was like starting from scratch for you?
No, like it was like when I boxed, I was like, I was thinking about this the other day. I am as addicted to sport now than I was when I was like 15, 16, 17 boxing. You know, them young adolescent years when it's like you're even too young to comprehend what you're going for, but you're just all in. So like even now I can feel it. It's just ramped up as it was then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I'm as dedicated to training now as I was then. So it's the same buzz. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, I'm with you.
It's some transition, like when you go in, like and I suppose a lot of people do that, like through the younger years. And I was it with soccer. It was 5 days a week, 2 matches the weekends, this and this, and you didn't know what you were doing it for. You were hoping someday you might become a professional, but at the same time you were like, maybe I will, maybe I won't. You were just showing up, and just kept showing up. And then college and whatever else happens, and then you get into that gym phase of everyone's a coach and everyone's lifting heavy and gaining and bulking and this, that, and the other. And like that transition back into the endurance game, it is a big change, because when you get into that weightlifting phase, I don't know, did you keep much cardio? But it's also one of the arguments a lot of people have of cardio is cheating and if I want to be big and don't do this. So what have you found the difference between the two, and how do you balance the two of them, or what's the love from each one?
So like what you touched on there, like I did keep cardio going. I used to always go out and just go out and do, like I do a run that I do all the time now, which is like a 6K loop. I would have done that 3 times a week. I didn't know the pace or that I was doing that, but it was hard. I remember the effort of it was hard. I was always like heavy breathing. Now I have a better gauge on how hard I was probably working, but I was definitely probably around where my threshold was then. I was always doing my run at that pace, and it would have been done probably 30 minutes or an hour. Or even looking back then when I was boxing, I used to do a lot of road work, because I got that buzz off running years ago when I was boxing. You know, when you're out there, you're doing like long runs and you're in the zone, and that's all you're thinking about. You're not really thinking about anything else, but the legs are just turning over, and nothing else matters in that moment of time. So I was getting that buzz back then. But I used to be going out and doing this, like, I know the loop now, it's 15K. But I used to do that 3 times a week without knowing it was 15K, or not knowing it was, not knowing anything about paces or anything like that. I used to just do that run because I felt like it was miles away from the house. I used to run down the coast, down to Westwood and back up Malahide Road, and I thought that was like a massive loop. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like it is a big loop, like it is, like it's a 15K run or whatever. But like I was always doing that, and anyway, at probably threshold. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no smart watches or nothing, just to stick on the headphones.
I used to go
running.
Go. I'm not messing. I used to go out running in my boxing boots so people would know I was a boxer. You ever see how thin them shoes are?
They're very flat though. Like there's no support at all in them.
Used to do it in them. Used to do it. Oftentimes I went out with hand wraps on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like literally giving it the large, like then, like
there was nobody gonna ask you for your phone on that run anyway.
Like literally, like that was the buzz. Yeah, used to go out, like there'd be days exactly like that.
It sounds like you pretty much lived and breathed boxing.
I've been not living and breathing boxing. I got into boxing probably 15, and boxing till I was just before I turned 20, started to fade out. But like, I loved boxing. You know, when I came from football to boxing, you're on your own there. It's not a team sport anymore. It's you, and you really get to kind of focus on you. And that was my first proper love of sport. Like, I played football like anybody. They're out in Britain now playing football from the age of 6, 7, and you play it. And I started to fade out at about 15, but loved boxing. Didn't really love football the way I loved that. You know.
And how did you find that transition? Because I have been through similar transition from team sport into triathlon, not to be competing at the same level you are, just for my own personal enjoyment. I do miss some days of being in a dressing room, win or lose. That feeling, some days I'm kind of like, that was great. Do you know, there was some days that I like that team element of something, but I much prefer the fact that the only one accountable to me is me. Especially, like, the only one who can let you down is you. Same about definitely hitting boxing. If you don't turn up, it's a different kind of pain. But do you find that the best or the easiest for you in terms of the transition into the Ironman and the triathlon, that it's your own accountability and your own headspace that you've been building over a couple of years that made it so easy for the transition?
Like, the Ironman for me, getting into the Ironman was more of a thing. At the start, it was more of a thing like most people. Somebody has done one, they want to do one. It wasn't really for me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How the lads around the way. Did you have Jay Redmond on this podcast? No?
Not yet.
So Jay Redmond is
Write it down.
So Jay's a mate of mine, and he's probably one of, like, he's more famous than most pro triathletes in the game. Do you know what I mean? Everybody knows Jay. At least everybody around this way knows Jay, but they didn't really know who, like, the big names were up until a little while ago. But anyway, Jay and Mick Kyo, another mate of mine, them two boys were doing them. And these were like very early days doing them. Like, for me, like, I didn't know anything about them. And I seen them and I just jumped on the bandwagon. I was only doing it because they were doing it, and I wanted to be. I was just competitive looking at them through Instagram, and that's what got me into it.
It seems like even your recent posts and stuff, you seem to be training with people that are and that level just above you. Like, you recently were running and you got like a sub 70-minute half. That sounds mad to me. Am I right in saying that or something?
Yeah. So I'll give you the scoop on that, right? So what happened there was I'm always trying to get into the circles with the people who are much better than me. And I end up tapping into a group in Phoenix Park through a mate of mine, Nathan, right? Nathan brought me in running with these lads. And there's some serious operators in there. Like, these boys are all doing 230, 5 and under, 230. Some of them are like, there's a small group of them that are doing low 220. And the main fella who like caught my eye was Gary O'Hanlon. Do you know Gary?
Yeah, again, like, you see them online and see them through places.
So I didn't know Gary up until about 10 weeks ago. Probably when I first started running with the lads, we were in the rain one morning, and he stood into the back of my taxi out the rain, because it's like a van you can stand in. It's like a little dugout, right, that we do use. And he stood in, and I was looking at him and didn't know anything about him, you know what I mean? And then I came to find out, like, this fella has serious credentials, like 216 or 45 years of age, holds the Irish record for 50k, which is 249. Won the Dublin Marathon, beat Scullion and all. Like, a legit operator, you know, in 216. So, like, I've been around him the last while, and I can feel myself come on from just being around him.
Is he coaching you now for he's coaching you for your marathon now in February? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, so he's coaching me for Seville.
I've always said in this podcast, you know, coaches need coaches, and you have a lot of credentials to yourself. You're a triathlon coach, and your running is phenomenal. If you say you just did a 70-minute, sub 70-minute half marathon, how is it working with a coach now towards this marathon? How are you finding that?
It's top of the range. Like it's very simple stuff. And like he would say, it's not rocket science. You know what I mean? It's a lot of easy running, and it's 2 key sessions a week. And I could show up and he'll have a key session in mind, and he'll change it the minute I get there. I'll be able to come in and thinking I'm going to do 25k at tempo, and he'll just extend it to 30 at a different pace. So you don't really know what you're getting. You just have to show up prepared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's that mental resilience as well.
So that's what I've came to take. And then another thing what happened recently enough was I done the 70 minutes, right? I done the 70 minutes in the park that day. I went 69:30. And it was very, very hard at the back end. Like the back end, the pressure was on. I could feel it. I was like, when I done the Clontarf one there last week, it was a lot easier. So I can see the progression there from probably 4 weeks off, right? Just them 2 times. But what happened was, where was I going with that?
You went
Gary, don't know what you get.
with him.
Yeah, so Gary.
Coach's Nick.
Right, so Gary, I'm not going on a tangent there. I don't know where I was going.
Training with the boys, I suppose. Training with lads that a lot.
Right, so this is what happened, yeah. So I showed up after doing the 70 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And I went into the park and we had like 3 or 5 3K efforts at like 3:35. And I was like looking at them. I look at everything from the week before and I'm like, that's handy. You know what I mean? I blitzed that. I'm not being doing 3:18 for 21. And I got a little bit ahead of myself. And I didn't prepare going into that Saturday morning session the way I should have. And Ian is running. Ian Fitzgerald.
Yes,
I've seen his Insta.
Yeah.
Another quality operator, right? Quality operator. Me and Ian, I trained with Ian for the whole lot, but for the leading part into Berlin, right? He was doing Berlin and he used me for his fast walk. So usually he's telling me to relax. Do you know what I mean? He's like, he'd grab me by the t-shirt and be like, chill out. Do you know what I mean? We'd be flat out at this stage and he'd be like, relax. But I showed up to that session and it was only 5 3K efforts. The first one was all right. Second, 2, 3 and 4 were rough, right? And I was like, what's going on here? I was only at the book in Seville. I was like, am I going to be able to do this or not? Do you know what I mean? I was like, what's going on? I'm doing great last week. I know I'm not great. And then he pressed me, right? Like we were meant to be doing 3:35. He brought it to like 3:30. And like usually them 5 seconds wouldn't make a difference to me, but I was praying to bring that watch back 5 seconds on the average. And he pressed me to the point where I had to give in and be like, Ian, relax, right? And he loved it. And then I said to myself after that, set on me for a few days, and I was like, I will not get caught slipping again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have been preparing for my Saturday runs on the Thursday morning now as if they're races. I'm carb loading for the long run on a Saturday every week now. And Ian put me in my place and I love it. You know what I mean? I love that. Yeah. He caught me early. Like that could have been probably, imagine that had been 8 weeks in or something, and it was a proper lesson. You know what I mean? Yeah, so like I love getting that off the lads. And like Gary will show up, like I show up like a show pony. I'm head to toe in Nike, leg shaved, a lot, right? Gary shows up in odd socks and gives it to you at 49 years of age. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you're just like, you're always like, I never really get too far ahead of myself, or you're always humbled. You know what I mean? But this is the other thing. So 70 minutes used to be a time that impressed me for a half. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you do it and when you're around the lads, these times like, I've done them and they straight away kind of mean nothing to you after an hour, a day. You're just already looking past it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and when you're in them circles operating at them times, they'll look at it. Some of them are looking at a 70 minute at an off day. Do you know? Like it's
on an off day. But what does impress me is like people going out and achieving their times and goals. I see what's inside of that. That impresses me. Like I've stood on the sideline of a 15-hour Ironman and watched people in the dark going through the trenches to the finish line. And like that's heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They keep on going that long, yeah.
They keep going. That impresses me. Like that really impresses me. But nothing I really do seems to. I give myself a pat on the back and I'm like, right, straight away on to the next one.
And that is a sign of being an athlete, though. And it's something though I've noticed even with Rachel, who's done the junior level cross country, she's breaking into the Ironman scene as well in 70.3. She crossed the finish line in 19th or 18th position in her age group in the world on her second ever half Ironman, and she was already like, right, what'll I do for the next one? You know, like there would have been a sombrero on the head for a week. And you know, like it is when you get to that level, and it's something that scares me, and part of it is kind of the reason I'm like, I don't think I can get to that, because I haven't had that drive in a long time to be like, what's next? I can go faster. And it's when you get into them circles, it's absolutely terrifying what you can achieve, but also scary that you can't see it. Like me and Sean are sitting here going, not going running with Anto. No, that's it.
Not wrong.
I go running with anybody. I get that a lot. I get people like, oh yeah, look, can't go run at your pace. And I'm like, I got into this to have a buzz with the lads. And people are always dodging me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, we can go out and have a buzz and not kill ourselves like any day.
And you're doing a bit of coaching yourself. So how is it someone gets in touch with you to not be afraid of the level you're at and say, right, me, for example, I did an Ironman and that's all I did one, got what I deserved, reaped what I sowed, 16 weeks, got around. What do I do to get involved with you or someone else to get involved in coaching? Or what should be the next steps for people who want to give this a go or want to be involved with you?
People who want to get on to me.
Yeah, or even just in coaching in general, or how do they find their circle of people who can push them? And because that's one of the things people I found most difficult is, where do I go? I don't want to train with them, they're too good for me. Or maybe it's just something in the Irish psyche as well, that's there that as soon as they hear what people are operating in.
So I've had a few people get on to me recently enough, and one of them was a 19-year-old from Coolock, right? And I was like, you're 19, bro. You're an apprentice plumber. You haven't got £100 a month to be given to a coach. Do you know what I mean? You need to go down and join a club like Piranha and start doing, like, what's the whole thing about an Ironman at 19? Do you know what I mean? You should be doing sprints, duathlons, chancing your arm at anything, having a buzz, learning from the club, getting the plans from the club or whatever, instead of like forking out like a good chunk of your wages on coaching and all that carry on. So like, and then like other people that like I have a few people like lads from around the way that are looking to get on to me, and a lot of people I find are looking to kind of shake up their life a little bit. They kind of have, they're sick of the sitting around, they want to get fit, they want to get healthy, and they look at the likes of a marathon or an Ironman and they're like, right, I'll do that. I had a mate there recently who got on to me and he was like, will you coach me for a marathon? Yeah, first of all, he was using a marathon to get himself back in shape, right? He's not doing any training at all. And I was like, no bother, I will help him, not a bother. But I was thinking about it and I was like, bro, doing the marathon isn't like, you've no choice here. Well, you do have two choices. Sit around and not be in shape and not train, or let's get the finger out and get going. The first option isn't really an option. Do you know what I mean? In my eyes, you need to get the finger out, bro. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I believe everybody needs to be trained. I just think, I see a lot of people, like, especially in my game, I'm a taxi driver here, so we see taxi drivers all the time. A lot of the lads, they're not mobile, they're not living. Do you know what I mean? They're not sitting around stagnant for a long time, and it's hindering them later on. So I'm like to the lads, I'm like, boys, like, you definitely need to be making a move on something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Even so some sort of activity.
Yeah. So like if people are looking for me to coach them, I also can only handle. I've come to realise that I can only handle about 10 people. I'm not one of these people that can handle 20, 30, 50 people. I could literally only handle about 10. My life is flat out with the amount of training and work I do. I can literally only hold a roster of 10. And like, because it's always on the go. Because I also give, when I take people on board, I'm like, you can ring me any time of the day for any questions. I'm just floating around in the taxi on video call to the lads and anyway. So you can just ring me and we'll have a yap. So I could, like, with 10 people trying to do that with you know what I mean? It turns into a lot. So like, if people are looking for marathons and getting stuck in or doing anything from 5Ks or to marathons or to Ironman, maybe anybody can give me a shout through Instagram.
Brilliant. Yeah, we'll have your Instagram details in the description of this podcast. I wanted to ask Eric this question a couple weeks ago just before he was doing his first Ironman. I had seen online that some people say it is harder to race a marathon than it is to race a full Ironman, even though a full Ironman contains a marathon in it. I know I'm baffled by this. This is the second part of the question. You have a 9-hour, 19-minute PB Ironman, under 10 hours, phenomenal. Like, to me, that's elite time. I don't know too much about it. But you haven't actually done just a full marathon race. Am I right in saying that your February is your first race for marathon? How did that happen? How did that happen in terms of, like, a lot of people would do, you know, maybe a marathon and stuff, and maybe they use that to build the confidence to go, maybe I'll be able to do like a half Ironman or do more cycling and build to it. And you haven't got a full Ironman. First, how did that happen? How different is the marathon training compared to the Ironman, and which one is harder?
What you said there first, people say it's harder to do the marathon than the Ironman. I've heard that as well by a bloke I used to box with. He done both, and he reckons that the marathon was harder. And I'm starting to kind of get glimpses of that as well. How I ended up doing the Ironman first was simply like that. The lads were doing it. and I was like, I'm gonna do it. They were doing Ironmans and putting up all over the gram and all, and I was like, I hung around with one of Jer's cousins, and he was always saying, look at the lads, and I was like, I could definitely catch them boys, you know what I mean? So I jumped on, and like that headless went over, dropped bleeding, only savings on a bike, you know what I mean? And ended up just getting stuck in. So my first event was Dun Laoghaire 70.3, right? I booked that on 2 weeks' notice.
Jesus.
Hadn't done much really sea swimming at all. I probably done my first, I'd say 100 metres, 200 metres sea swimming that day. You know what I mean? Right? No mess. And I have a mad fear of the sea. So I remember going out there and I didn't know anything about pros or didn't know Anne. I was at the booking on 2 weeks' notice, so I didn't actually know anything. I knew Jared and Mick, and I wanted to catch them from the minute I got into the water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got on the. I remember going out Dun Laoghaire, me and my mate started together, went off. I remember standing at the start and looking. It was a kilometre straight, right? And I was like, I'm never gonna make that. You know what I mean? and then you just walk up to the start. The gun goes. You jump in, and you're just making your way towards a yellow buoy. And you're looking around, you're like making sure you're not out in the middle of nowhere on your own. People are around you, because for me, the strength of numbers out there, right? If there's people around me, I feel okay. But if I'm anywhere on my own, I just start to get a little bit vulnerable out there.
Yeah.
So anyway, got through the swim. I think I done it in like 45 minutes. Got out, got on the bike, and went off like a head case. Trying to catch the lads up to the mountains. Came through in a skirty and took a corner in the aero bars. I'm not messing, right? If I could have went any faster, I definitely would have, right? I went flat out through a bend, took some fella that was making the bend straight off his bike, right?
Oh, Jesus.
Cleaned him. I was out cold in the middle of the road. Fella came around the corner, tried to dodge me. He hit a wall, and me and him got carried off in the ambulance together. I was concussed. Kind of got up off the floor. I didn't know what was going on. We got carted off. And ever since that, then I was just strung out on it. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know what you mean. I'd be done with Ironmans forever.
It was a mad buzz. And then, so that was my entry into it then. And then I ended up, I think I booked Marbella half. Yeah, I was like, right, I need to do a half again. I made a ball to the first one. So I need to, booked Marbella. We went to Marbella, done that. Marbella was about that. Done all right there. I think it was like 5:10 me first, and hadn't got a watch, hadn't got technology, hadn't got no notion on the game at all. Right?
Yeah.
Got through Marbella, came home, went to Cork with the lads. That was my first full one. Cork the first year was a washout, wasn't a great buzz.
That was right. You had to cancel the swim, wasn't it?
Yeah, cancel the swim.
Yeah.
I still very novice in the game there. Not really even training. Wasn't really even training the heart rate then.
Yeah.
So I was busy then. Do you know what I mean? It was just Ironman Cork, led to Ironman Barcelona. COVID happened. Had Barcelona booked. That rolled on then. You were kind of caught up in the middle of COVID and you still had your entry. So I still trained all through COVID, and then it came around and it was like right back to like that period of time was just a waste. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not a waste. I trained a lot and got really fit and got in shape. But like in regards to getting races done, I probably would have got to the marathon sooner.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
But I end up just got caught up in Ironman. Then it was like right, Barcelona.
Yeah, it would have dragged you out for another couple of years.
You know what I mean? And then I end up falling into the triathlon Ireland scene.
Right.
And then that became a thing. I just fell into that through me coach in Smart and Jordan's. He was like, he knew I was half decent, so he was trying to get a bit of traction on the ground with me, winning things, so he threw me into these things. And then I just end up being half decent at them. You know what I mean?
When did you realize, like, because within 2-3 years, you're starting to win events and podium all the rest. Like, what was the first event that you did? I'm assuming it wasn't Dun Laoghaire, where you're like, I'm actually decent at this, that I can get somewhere with this, as in like high up.
Yeah, so like right, I done the Duathlon series, and I think the first Duathlon race, I think I came third. Did I come third? I think I came second, but I was racing a couple of geezers there. And then I done another one and I won one. And then I was kind of getting a bit, you kind of back yourself a little bit more, you become a little bit more gamey then. You know, you're standing on the start line and you're just having a go. But duathlons are great because there's no swim, and swim is my weakness. So early on in the season, you kind of get a little bit of a little bit of head start on your confidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, before I went
But anyway, then we came to the Phoenix Park, right? And this is the truth of it, right? There's a lot of serious operators in the game on all levels that I wouldn't tie these boys shoelaces. Maybe now I'm a little bit closer to them, but there's geezers around the way that are quality operators, right? I'll give them a shout out. So I went into Phoenix Park and I was at the doing well in a couple of races, right? And I was a little bit more ballsy. And I showed up to Phoenix Park, and two of the lads had showed up. They were like in the game a good while. Niall Corn and Kieran Jackson, right? These boys are serious. These boys have Kieran has went 40 and 45k and all, right? All this type of stuff. And Niall is serious as well. The boys have raced for Ireland away and they're quality. But I remember showing up to that race, and a fella that I was at the race a couple of weeks before, I was like, "You ready for this 5k?" And he goes, "Hope you're ready." Kieran Jackson's on the start line. He done 40 and 40 last week, and I remember going, "Yes, that's my game plan gone out the window." So and then what happened was, I remember the start of that race. I went on my ear, gun went off. I went to run, foot slipped, went on the deck, barrel rolled, and then boys, I went out thinking I was gonna I was just sizing myself up against them. I think I went through 5k in 16:10. They went through in 15:30. They put 30 seconds into me in 2.5k. And I got a real eye opener of where I was then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was like I seen them pull away from me, and I was like, and then but then we came through. Then so then that race came on. Colm Turner, another fellow I've been racing very well, another quality operator who's in the game ages. He overlapped me on the bike. I think I ended up coming. I came fourth that day, but within that race, then there was a league table basically, right? So in the Duathlon National Series, you're marked on your best two and your performance in Phoenix Park, right? And me and another fella, Paul Carroll, who is, I think Paul Carroll's 53. You want to see this fella? Another fella still going later on, do you know what I mean? In them years, still unbelievable. I don't know anybody that's as strong as him on the bike, to be honest. He's very, very strong, very aero, very, very efficient on the bike. But anyway, so me and him were racing for the overall series win. And it came down to me and him. So Niall and the other three lads, they dusted us on the day, right? They were podium. But then there was another podium, and I remember I came into transition, and Paul Carroll was a kilometre already in. And I literally had to go for broke to get him. Do you know what I mean? And when I got him, I think I got him 500 metres out. It was a real you learn more about yourself the deeper you dig in the moments. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's kind of you're afraid to go to places sometimes, but once you go there, you're already in pain. You can hold on to that pain for a little bit while longer. So the more I got used to that feeling, the better I got.
Yeah. It could have been easier for you to say, he's a kilometre ahead, I'm not going to catch him, and not dig as deep to try and fail, and just accept it. He was just too far ahead, that's it. But you were like, fuck it, I have to go deep into that well and be a lot of pain, try and catch this guy. And
then even in training sessions, I would always go back to that moment where I had to dig in deeper to get him. I'd always be like, it doesn't hurt as much as I did that day chasing Paul Carroll. In the moment I'm thinking this, and I'll dig in. And I'm wherever deep I have to go, I'll always use that milestone as something when I need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the more bottle I got, the better my performances became, and I just ended up pulling results out of them. And then we went into the tri season then, and what happens even in that, I still find it mad that I pull results out of that, because I do be so far back in the swim. It's very, very hard for me to make up the ground. I don't have a second of a breather. Do you know what I mean? When them boys are out of water, I'm either on it, full gas till I get them, or they're gone. And I still manage to pull a few. I think I pulled a few sprints, Olympics. I pulled a few decent results out on the national series scene. But don't get it twisted, right? There's a couple of boys that aren't showing up to these races that if they did, I wouldn't get a look in. You know what I mean?
I'm with you, yeah.
I'm telling you that now. There's quality operators knocking about.
You can only race you're raced against.
You can only race your race, exactly.
Yeah, now that you're building towards marathon stuff, is it in the back of your mind now? I'm assuming you've triathlon stuff lined up for next year, and you're like your swim's your weakest. Is it like, am I doing too much running that I'm gonna have to make more ground the swimming, or how are you approaching the off season?
I'll tell you about this now. So, women for me, I've taken to every sport I've ever done, right? Every sport, like any of them, skiing even. Do you know what I mean? I've taken to every sport I've ever done, but swimming. And I don't know what it is. It's like a riddle. Every day I show up to the pool. It's like, even when you learn how to do each thing correct, if you don't do it at the right time, it's like if the timing isn't there, you might as well forget about it. So I haven't got it yet. The penny hasn't dropped for me on the swim yet. But I know once it does, I'll be laughing. And it's not a matter of fitness, because I know how fit I am, and it's not a matter of strength because I am strong. It's purely technique. It is,
and it comes down to the 10,000 hours job of swimming, and that's why in triathlon, those who are swimmers before they were runner cyclists, they have a great advantage. I don't know, they have such an advantage in it. And as long as they put the time into, like, they don't have to put that. They do put time into swimming. Don't get, I'm not saying that, but the time and energy that the non-swimmers have to put in to learn that technique, to be efficient at it, stuff they've grown up with, it's just so hard. When you're older, it doesn't translate.
It's heartbreaking. I've nearly walked away from triathlon. Every year at the end of the tri season, I'm like, right, that's it, I'm done with that. And then I clearly can't get away from it. I clearly can't get away from it. But I do definitely believe inside of me, I'm too good as an athlete to accept the quality of the standard of swimming that I'm at. So I've tried it. I've tried a lot. I've tried different. I've tried all the coaches around the way. I've tried it all. I've collared every person that I've been able to collar that can teach me something about swimming. I've one more thing that I'm going to try. Not one more thing, but I'm going to try another thing in January, and this might work. It's just a whole different technique of swimming. It's not like it's more of a bounce in the water than and if you're watching this fella on Instagram, I'm going to go and do a clinic with him, I think, and I'll have a go at that. But yeah, go.
If like we always say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But for you, you're looking to fix it. So
looking to fix it.
If it fixes it, it fixes it.
So I could have got a pain in my hole with triathlon and bounced and went to marathon because I'm half decent at running and just stuck to that. So the plan was to do Dublin at the back end of next year, yeah?
Yeah.
I was going to get the triathlon season all out of the way and go to Dublin and do Dublin in October. But then Gary says to me, he just sent me a screenshot of Seville and was like, are you coming? And I was thinking like, right, I might never get somebody of his caliber looking to bring me on board again. So I was like, right, we'll get the marathon out of the way early, and that'll give me 6 months. And I'm looking at doing probably Copenhagen, and that'll give me 6 months. Then the run standard will be where it needs to be from what I do plan on doing. It'll be right up there. So all I really need to do is pull the swim out of the bag somehow and get back on the bike and put the hours in on the bike and just get the threshold up, get the powers up where I need them to be, and get as aero as I possibly can be on the bike, and I should be able to pull off something decent.
It's so you're doing the full distance?
Yeah, I'll do the full. Yeah,
it's unbelievable, and to be balancing it as well, because some people, when they do go in that route, like you're being good at three sports, and that in itself is the challenge, you know. Like, and to be that good at marathon and to be brought along by them people and to be setting them tights in one sport, to carry that into the other three is absolutely amazing. It's a phenomenal achievement. I know you don't see it, but we see it. And maybe you should take a second and go, do you know what? I actually did do a lot this year, because you've had an unbelievable season.
Yeah. Oh, look, I did. It was a buzz. The triathlon awards night, I was on the stage. I was on the stage all night. It was a great buzz. I mean, I got medals left, right, and centre, and it's a good buzz. But yeah, look, it's just like, I love it. It's easy when you love it.
Yeah, I saw the picture I had on Instagram, just you and all the trophies there on the couch, and I'm like, this guy's a little bit better than that, right? Like your last, I'm assuming your last event this season was the Lost Sheep, and Eric also did that event, and he was talking about how tough the run was. And I was like,
Don't worry,
you guys can
don't
talk
worry.
about that in a second. I'll get back out of it. But you guys were in the same age category. And Anthony, you topped it, I think, and you came sixth overall in the middle distance.
I got roasted by the lads that day.
Yeah,
But yeah, like it was some course, wasn't it?
it was nice. You were already changed by the time I passed you. I was like, oh, what's the story?
When?
I didn't. It took me 6 hours to get around. I wasn't there. I wasn't in the best.
Like it was a hard course. And here, when you came through at the top of, I think it was the car pass,
Yeah,
and it was just pure fog.
yeah.
Remember that?
Well,
You
you were a
couldn't
little
see it.
bit. You were a little bit ahead of me. It cleared by the time I got up there.
I could not see a thing. My visor was just dripping from the
Yeah.
fog, and I was trying to wipe it off, and I couldn't see a thing, couldn't see anything, and it was
Yeah.
like it was a great day, great course. I'd recommend anybody to go down and do it once you get a half decent day. I wouldn't like to do it in the rain, but some race,
Yeah, it
great
was.
race. The run was crazy.
Like we've had people on like Lorcan Fisher and stuff who's done multiple 12, 14 Ironman. I don't know how many halves. And he still says it is the hardest half you can ever do.
Yeah.
Like it's 1,600 meters of climbing and 83 kilometers or something. Like it is phenomenal.
Epic. Yeah.
It is a great race. And the run, I think, would you say the first 8 to 10k is predominantly uphill?
It's mental. You actually can't see a straight line because it's so like that. You can't see it. You can't see anybody. You can't see anything. Because what happened was I don't know where I was, but I don't know where I was when I got off the bike, but I was running, and then there was a turnaround point, and Niall and Colin came by me, like they were going quick. I knew I wasn't catching the lads, but I seen David Higgins, and then I seen Michael McCron and James Hall, right? And I was like, right, lovely. At the bare minimum here, I'm coming forward today because I'm definitely getting them too. This is what was going on, man. I just had to keep this pace going. Like my splits were coming in. Like I was getting a load of 330s, and this is from running with the lads in the park. I was like, I kind of took notice there. I was like, right, all this time at 330s, it's starting to set into my just half Ironman run leg because this is a very hard. Because that was a very hard run. So I knew if I was pulling them off there, I could pull them off on a flat, but. Like, I was looking at the lads and I was like, I think I left it too late to go. I should have been... Niall and Colin were in the trenches. They were home. They were racing. I was just looking to place. I knew I wasn't going to come anywhere. But I thought, I was like, right, you'll get fourth. And then I got to like 18k and I was like, I'm not getting the lads here. They're gone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it was just like real quick. I was like, you think, wouldn't you go? Do you know what I mean? I was like, it was a hard run course. That hill at 16k.
Oh my God. I don't know how you even ran up it. I didn't. I walked it.
It was mental. Like, cement legs trying to get up at that stage.
The elevation for that course, I think I read it today, was like 850 meters over a half. And to put context for people that Dublin, I think Dublin's like half that over a full length. So it's like even a lot less of up and down compared to what you guys went with. Just for not like list there, because like that is unbelievable that the inclines and stuff you did in that run.
Good hard day. It was a
good hard day. And it's one of them, it's that hard, you're like, you nearly sell your bike afterwards. And then a day later, you're like, oh, I might do that again next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is a great event, and great equipment, great medal, great, I would say, standard of athlete. I was by far one of the worst athletes on show that day because it was the end of the triathlon season. Everyone was there I recognised from different clubs and seeing them throughout the years when I just participate, but you're recognising the same faces and you're like, this is a very good field of athletes. And a lot of people going out to make an end of year statement, I suppose. And it was part of the national series as well, which is like, it was good. And it is a great standard of race for people who want to compare themselves or want to train towards something through a summer.
Yeah.
It will really give you a measure of what you've done, really, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a great, you definitely get your bang for buck with that one. Definitely.
Yeah, phenomenal. And a great morning as well. But it's amazing to see what you're doing. It's scary to see where you're going to go. Have you got a time in mind for Seville?
Look, I'm palling around with lads that are going looking at low 220s and I'm not accepting that less. I train with them. I train with them. I train with them every day. I see how we fare off with each other. I don't know what time I'm going to do. I'm just listening to Gary, going up, and wherever I can pull off on the day, I'll pull off. And if I go for a time that's way above me reach and I blow up and I end up on the deck, I'll sit there and laugh at myself because that's what it's all about. It's about don't pass what you think you can do.
Yeah,
At least
find
for
that
me, it
red
is.
line and keep going.
Like that's what it is for me. Do you know what I mean? Just pushing myself, as like getting the most out of myself that I can.
I do see some of the stuff Gary has up on his Facebook and stuff. He has some elite athletes, and I say he'll have with you on the day a specific time where you've built up closer and closer and get to there. I completely forget what I was going to say to you. I had another question there in the back pocket. It's completely left me mind there. Oh yes, I know now. One of the speaking of the lost sheep, that was one of the events where, and you touched this at the very start of the podcast, you had your videographer with you there doing that. And you were talking about like your videographer with you. Obviously, you work late night stuff doing a taxi.
He's gonna go mad when he hears the term videographer. So he doesn't look at himself as a videographer, but that's just how I'm not as clued in with social media or even what he does. So he's actually a director on production. He's a DOP, right? And if he heard me call him a videographer, as much as I do, he'd be snapping. But he's a very skilled operator in what he does. Very.
Do you feel
the videos are brilliant?
Yeah,
he's late.
That's what I was getting. I think it was one of the first videos I seen of you was this. I remember sort of, who's this lad? Because the videos and the way it was done, I'm like already it just puts you as there's something about
the videos can make you look serious. Like the videos can just make you look unreal.
Yeah, you have the numbers to back it up though as well. Like, but is there any extra pressure with that?
Yeah, mad pressure, especially because it doesn't come naturally to me talking in front of a camera. That's not like I would be stage fright, right? I was on the Hell Week show. The reason I bottled Hell Week was because of stage fright. It wasn't because it was too hard. It was because when the camera got slapped onto me, I was like, the whole world is looking at me here through this lens, and I started to panic. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
So that doesn't. You're going to go down looking for the whole scoop on Hell Week, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're raging I didn't get this beforehand.
I didn't know about this.
So Hell Week, did you know I was on that?
No. I was looking at stuff today. That never popped up.
So me mate, Mick Kyo, he done it, right? And got hypothermia, yeah? And when he done it, I was actually over in Marbella where when that aired on telly, I was in Marbella at the Ironman. Me and my missus were like chilling in the apartment and we were watching that. I'm watching Mick Kyo on it, right?
Yeah.
So it was a kind of a whole buzz that led into it. And then everybody looks at them things, the 2 weeks in hell, the David Goggins stuff, and to be like, I'd love to try that. Do you know what I mean? Everybody does. Every bloke does it anyway. Everybody looks at the what's the Navy thing that they do?
Is it how because Will?
No, so like you know the thing that they do, buds and all that.
Buds.
Yeah.
So and then the Irish Army Ranger wing, and every kind of bloke would be like, I'd love to have a go over that. But I was one of them. I'd be like, I'd be well able to do that. Do you know what I mean? And then so Mick Kyo sent me the application form for when it was coming out again and goes, don't bottle it. And I was like, yeah, right. Do you know what I mean? Now, I knew when I applied for it, I could get it. I knew I could swing it if I was able to, because you have to go do a fitness test first, right? So we all met out, the fitness test was out in Sport Island and got brought out there. It was like 20, it was like as many pull-ups as you could do, many sit-ups as you can do, and a bleep test, right? So I knew I could go out and absolutely blitz that. So I went out there, got the eyes on me out there from the people who were picking the stuff, and went out with the hair and a headband on like Rambo and all. Do you know what I mean? I knew I could live up to the moment of it and then get it. So I knew I was gonna get it, right? So and anyway, I went into that with the mindset that I will definitely be one of the last off this show, 100%. You know what I mean? Right? And I quickly came to realise that I wasn't going to be one of the last off the show. I knew I was going to be, when I realised I wasn't going to be one of the last, I said, "Fuck, I'll be one of the first, or I'm getting out of here." And it was a great experience, right? Just the whole buzz of it. You think it's not real on the telly, but you quickly fall into line there when these geezers are putting you through your paces. Yeah. And it's not like fitness got me in the door, but it's not even about fitness. It's like it's about grit and stubbornness, you know, and like just not willing to give in. Whereas I thought fitness would have just brought me straight through it. But what happened to me was you're dealing with, let's say there's 30 years in there, right? Like it's like a free for all at the start, yeah, because everybody's just looking to not get the eye on them, but you can't do anything right in any way because it's like these are just on you for nothing. Do you know what I mean? anything. So you can't do anything right, but everybody's not trying to do something wrong. And like I remember, like you put your runner or your boots down, and somebody can't find their boots because it's mayhem at the time. So your boots are whipped or your trousers are whipped, and then somebody comes over, one of them DSs comes over, and they're like, "Where's your trousers?" And you're like, "Oh, what? You know what I mean?" There's no camaraderie at the start. So I was like, nobody gives a monkeys about anybody here. This is everybody out for themselves. This is very early on, and then so what happened was, right, they were picking the new team leader. And that team leader has to orchestrate the whole bunch, right? You have a big responsibility there early on. And I walked around the room and he stopped at me. And I thought he was going to pick me, right? But he didn't. He picked the person next to me. But in that moment, I said, he's going to pick me. I'm going to have to look after these 30 people on telly. Everybody's going to see me trying to manage this. And panic set in. And I was like, I'm out here. So I was planning my exit for like 13, 14 hours. No, sorry. I only lasted 13 hours. I was planning my exit for about 5 hours. I was like, right, when am I going to bounce? And then the opportunity came then, and he was like, anybody want to leave? And I was like, yeah, I'm out here. And he was like, you sure? And I was like, 100%, see you later. I was like, I have Nando's on tap outside of this. I think cold boiled eggs for breakfast sitting around the table. I was like, fuck this, I'm out here. But I bottled it massively, right? Absolutely bottled it. And it was only I really got to realise that I bottled it when you get pulled offside. When you pack it in, you get pulled off to a place where the rest can't see you. And I seen your man Jer Reddy. He was one of the DS's, big solid geezer, proper Irish Army Ranger. And he came over to me and he was like, you going home, yeah? And I was like, yeah, packed it in. And he was like, look, we're here to take you to your limits and then bring you past it. And I said to myself, I didn't even go to my fucking limit there. I just bottled it because of stage fright. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you learn these things and you know what I mean? You just roll with it. Like,
I'd say at that point you instantly regretted it. You're like,
I regretted it, but it was a great experience. And what happens is they shake you. They shake the group to get the numbers down very early on. So once you get by that bit, it does become a bit more like a community buzz. Everybody has that back. Where it's madness at the start. Like I remember being in the room. And like one of the lads had to leave the socks outside, and the fella came in, put his socks in that man's mouth. He had to keep the socks in his mouth for half an hour. Couldn't take them out. All this type of just buzz, and you were not even allowed to smile. Do you know what I mean? If you were smiling, you're probably gonna have socks in your mouth. And like, but it was very funny, very good buzz. And like some of the lads that I looked at, like that staunched it out. My mate Jerry got very to the late stages of it. Some of the people, like I remember sitting on the bus where, you know, Gary Cully who was boxing last night?
Yes. Well, no, I'm small. Yeah. I don't know.
So Gary Cully's boxing coach, Niall, I was on the show with Niall. And I remember looking at Niall on the bus and you wouldn't have thought anything about him. But Niall staunched it all the way to the end and completed it. And he's a very quiet, reserved bloke, you know what I mean? And staunched it. Great buzz. If you could ever have a go of it, have a go of it and have a crack because it's funny.
He does more up Eric's alley than mine on that one.
Telling you. Yeah.
It's something else, but I like that as well. It's something different, and it's like when we look at you doing marathons, like, geez, that's harder. When people look at you to triathlon, that's really hard. You know, someone's easy day is someone else's hard day, and it's amazing when you look at all these different things that it was a camera that got you, not
a camera got me. Right, so now back to Adam, yeah. So Adam, I got Adam. So I clicked with Adam because he's okay. So I clicked with Adam. I was cycling down the road on the bike heading out to Hout one day, and Adam came by me, and he was doing a bit of videoing for his brother. His brother is, you know, Ironman Mark. You know Mark?
Oh, you have seen the Instagram, yeah.
Mark's another geezer from around the way. Like, he's like, and he done Hell Week, and he actually, do you know what? He would have finished it, but they I don't know, they cut him out. They said he didn't make a cut-off time or something. He wasn't able for it, but Mark would have went all the way, 100%. But anyway, so he's Mark's brother, and I seen the two out in the car one day. I pulled up next to Adam, and Adam was like, I was pulled up next to the lads. I was like, what's the gig? They were doing a video. I said, yeah, see you later. But then Adam got on to me and he was like, we should do something. And I was like, yeah. And I didn't really think much of it. And then I always kind of wanted to get into the Instagram and the social media, but didn't really have the bottle. So then I got Adam out to the field one day and he done a session with me and my mate Ross. I was coaching Ross for Ironman Cork. Ross literally showed up, hadn't a clue. I got Ross to the field. Adam shows up with a big camera. Ross was like, "Oh, what's the gig, man?" Relax, just go with it. And so Adam done a video that day, and then Adam was like, Adam thought he was just going to make a handy earner that day. He was just going to be down to the field, make a handy day's walk, and then bounce. But then he took to me and was like, "Right, this fella's actually game ball. He's about it." Do you know what I mean? Like I am about it. And then we kind of just fell into this thing where he's always with me now. I'm helping him get fit and get into shape. He's helping me out with the social media. And I'm scratching his back, he's scratching mine. It's a great buzz.
Look, and even following you, if he does follow you to the likes of Ironman, like the show that Ironman is, you know, like the videos you can make from these kind of events, like they sell themselves, you know, and it is a show. Sean's witnessed it as a spectacle. I was part of it, was the spectacle, you know, like it is, you pay a lot of money for it, but it is a show. It is a phenomenal spectacle. Like, and when you're making videos of these kind of things, they do catch people in. They are interesting. I find myself even still watching the same videos from Portugal, like, oh yeah, that was class, you know, like it's unbelievable how much it catches you in.
So you done Portugal?
Yeah.
Just gone?
Ago, yeah.
Meant to be a hard day.
It's 1,600 meters of climbing.
But the bike was meant to be horrendous.
Yeah,
the wind.
I'm glad you said it. Okay.
No, it was because I had 3 lads on the start line there, and I had cycled with one of them. I was only saying this to him at the awards there a while ago. We went out in the rain out to Longwood and back to like 180. I done 170 that day. He done 180. He went 34k an hour that day, right in the rain in Dublin on the Westmead, out to Westmead and back on them roads. And I was like, right, when you get to Cascais, you'll laugh, right? You're going to be blown along on them European tarmac roads. Everybody's up 2k an hour when they go to Spain or Portugal. I was like, right, lovely. Went 6k slower or something. I was like, what the fuck? And he was like, Anto, it was a bad day for wind. And I was like, it looks like it. And then even the people that done the half, they had nothing good to say about it. It was like, hard day.
Yeah, it was a hard day. The swim was a hard day. The cycle, like I was hoping for 30k an hour, and that's what I trained to. And when I was actually on the bike on the day, my what was giving me 30k an hour, I was doing 25, 26, and I was like, that's it. I've got nothing else. So it was it tacked on about, I wanted about a 6:15. I tacked on about 20 minutes onto my cycle estimation. Like I was 6:40 nearly, 25 minutes. So it wasn't great on that end. And then the run was nice though, in fairness. It was a nice run, but the cycle and the swim, it's a tough course. I actually
I heard that.
I have to say but it's a great course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an enjoyable one, and the town is great, and the swim wasn't for me. The swim wasn't, I'm like you, I wouldn't be a fan of the water, but it wasn't my finest swim. But like that, I kind of said it to Sean afterwards, giving out, and then I was like, oh, but I guarantee everyone else had a fucking great day. It's just me, inexperienced. And then you're like, I heard the cycle was horrible. And someone else was like, that was a horrible swim.
Yeah. Have you booked that out?
Yeah, so I was actually looking into Marbella, probably half is one. I was thinking of doing Dubai. I'm moving to Dubai in a couple of weeks, so Dubai half is on the cards, Oman half. I don't know which one is which, so there's a few things in the calendar to be figured out work-wise before that. But there's one I think you should do, Anto. Azerbaijan.
All right.
The top 10
Ironman event?
Yeah, the top 10 finishers just about scraped under the 10 hours on a flat course with a river swim.
Yeah.
One of them, I think, the winner went like an 850 or something. But
so this is one of these grueling ones, is it?
No, it's flat.
No, it's flat.
Yeah.
But you said top 10 just went under 10 hours.
Yeah. I was looking at the thing. See, I was like, geez, I might give that a go myself.
Right.
If I had your ability, you could get to the World Championships out of Azerbaijan.
So, I qualified for Kona twice, bro.
Did you ever Azerbaijan?
The first time a hand down to me. First time it was a hand down to me. And I was like, nah, look, I'll definitely get one of them again. I'm saving for a gaff, right? I'm trying to get a gaff next year. And I was like, I'm not dropping 10 grand on an Ironman. Because that's what it is. They go to it's 10 notes. You know what I mean? I'm not. I'm like, and then I qualified the year later And that I actually got a spot there. I came 40 in my age group in Barcelona, and everybody was like to me, Ando, go, go, go. And I was like, nah, I'm not going. But then they moved it to Nice, and I could have went to Nice, and Nice would have cost Nice wouldn't have cost half the money what Hawaii would have cost.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I only found out after I turned it down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, I went there. And Nice is meant to be a good one. Nice is meant to be a proper hard day out. Meant to be like doing the Wicklow 200 as the bike course.
Yeah, it is. It's a tough course, and they're I think it's the men's are coming back to Nice next year.
No, men's are going to.
Sorry, men's are back in Kona. Women are back in Nice. Nice was this year, yeah. So 2 years, Anto.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a change between Nice and Kona then every year now. Was that what it is? Because
they only started doing that. They only started doing that this year. This is the first year they moved it to Nice, and then they moved it back to Hawaii. Great buzz. Look, if I was a betting man, I'd say I'll get a spot again. And you never know, I might take it. Do you know what I mean? I might take it. I am kind of playing around with the idea of, like, when I first got into this, and Jer registered himself as a pro Irish triathlete, right? If you go under 9:45, you can register yourself as a pro triathlete in Ireland, right? So Jer done it. And Jerry built his business off the back of it, which was a top of the range move I am. And it took bottle to do what he done. Do you know what I mean? Go in and stand in the pro box next to Brownlee and lads. Do you know what I mean? These boys are like double Olympic champions and all. And like to do what he done would took mad bottle. But I'd also love to do that. I'd love to just stand shoulder to shoulder with the best in the world once. So I probably I'll have to go one at a time again. So like that, you said I done 9:19. I could have registered that year. I'd missed the time to do it. So next year, if I go fast enough in Copenhagen, I probably will register myself as a pro, and 1 year try and jump on a race and stand next to Blumenfeld and some of the people who I like. I'm fascinated with the lads, you know, Blumenfeld and Eden and Fredino and Cam Wolf. These are operators at the highest level.
Yeah.
People don't even know who they are. You know what I mean? People,
I know, it's mad. Like,
don't even know these people. They're the fittest people. And
it's just... Like, even watching them, the documentary of watching them doing the sub-7 and the sub-8, the men's and the women's, and the people they got around them, I'm like, these guys are fitness. I was like, and they could sit on a bus beside someone and they wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it's unbelievable.
I know.
Yeah, it's amazing what it is, but it's amazing what the sport has become. But like that, you only got into it a couple of years ago.
I know. Do you know what? I'm sick I didn't get into it. I was like, sick I wasn't in it as a kid.
Well, be hard getting triathlons as you're very young. Although I was at a local race recently, it seems to be more and more kids getting to 5Ks and 10Ks. It's class to see. But for yourself, what after your Seville, you're doing Copenhagen to say, what else is in
I haven't booked Copenhagen. I haven't booked Copenhagen. I haven't booked it yet. But because I know what it takes once you do book it. When you book it, you know you're in. And even dealing with that on a daily basis is heavy. It
eats your life. It's one thing I said. You wake up with guilt, you go to bed with guilt, and you do 2 training sessions in between. Like, it's
a very heavy. So like, I am 100% game ball for it again. I don't know. Like, I'm 100% game ball for another full season, but I know what it takes to be locked in. So I'm just kind of focused on Seville now. As soon as I book Copenhagen, I'll need to book it. I'd say before January, because it'll sell out. So I'm just kind of dragging my heels with it a little bit.
An early Christmas present or a burden, whichever one it is.
And then I'll be on then. Then I'll be on for that. But I do want else. I might jump on the Irish Duathlon National Series in the race in the park. So that actual National Series race. And I might jump on that. My run will be up. I'll probably be able to get the bike back up to where it needs to be before April. And have a go with that. And then I'll jump on wherever training days are on, or whatever races I could use as training days or whatever. But will be more focused on going the long distance next year.
That's the goal.
Yeah, definitely. But you never know. I could take well to this marathon. I could see. This is another thing, right? So what happens with me is, and we were saying this, I am very easily influenced, right? Like when I'm cycling with the bike riders, like Anto Walsh, he's the roadman. Do you know the roadman?
No, I haven't actually come across him yet. No.
So Anto Walsh, he has the Roadman podcast, quality, right? Anto's quality. In the game years, he brought my cycle on. But when I'm with him, I just want to go bike riding, and he's talking into doing the Ross, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to the Ross, right? And then I go to the park with Kelly, and I'm going marathon running. And then do you know what I mean? And then when I'm with the triathletes, then swimming with them, I'm like, well, I'm back in triathlon. And this morning I was at a cross country race, and I was like, I'd have a go with this as well. And it's just like I just want to do a bit of it all. So that's the thing. I need to pick something and channel towards it, and not put the blinkers on.
Someone says
I'm very easily side. I can be sidelined. I could just end up in a different direction altogether. Like last year, we were training, right? Moody was coaching me, and I lost sight of the goal. I was at getting the Duathlon national title. I won the sprint national race in Thai. What was it? I won the over. So there was 2 sprint races in the Thai. Russell White is actually the sprint champion, right? Russell White's a real deal. So there was 2 sprint races on, the elites and then my one. I wasn't in with the elites, but I won the age group one, let's say, right? So I won that, and then I started going back out with the bike riders, and I lost sight of the goal of winning the overall series win, right? Which was like I came second in it, but I could have got it. But I got a little bit distracted, and I ended up going out with the bike riders and then jumping on 5K races when I wasn't meant to, and just doing a bit of everything. And I kind of fell out of the rhythm of like, with the real gains I made in this game are on your turbo at the right time, right days each week, pushing the numbers up. It has to be just constantly going up, pull it back a little bit, go up again. Not redlining it at a 5K. And then 4 days before that, doing 260k on the bike in Wicklow with the lads for the crack, and like all this type of stuff. You need to be switched on. You need to be switched on and structured. And I lost sight of it last year by just having the buzz.
But I suppose, adding that structure in, like, you know, when you're talking about something as real as turning professional, you kind of have to treat yourself in that way, like you're a finely tuned car and it trains at this time and find that peak. And it'll be scary. I'd say the lads that are listening to this now be like, keep running them 5Ks.
Look, that whole going pro thing, like, and this is another thing, not a lot of bread is made in the game of it, you know? No. There's very few who have made massive money from it, or even, like, a lot of them probably, a lot of them wouldn't be mad financially off from it. It's the coaching and the sponsors that look after them. But like, I wouldn't be looking for to get into that pro end for that. I just love to stand next to the legit operators, buzz off them a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Have a bit of buzz with them. Have a bit of buzz with them. But yeah, look, it's the love of training. I just love training.
Davey.
Do you know what I mean? It's not hard for me to, like, if I'm not training, I'm not a happy camper. It has gone from like hobby to obsession to addiction at this stage. You know, it's like I cannot switch off from it. Do you know what I mean? The whole life revolves around it. Everything you eat, trying to get to bed early. It's just like I just love it.
And it is, and something we've always said, it's a lifestyle. And when you get into this, it is a lifestyle. You're making conscious choices to do the training, to go to bed early, you know, and it, in the end, when people look, and I've said it on a few times in podcasts, they look at you and go, I'm not willing to make them lifestyle sacrifices just yet. So it's but it is a lifestyle choice, and it's fantastic to see what you've done in such a short space of time. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do in the next year. We will love to have you back on after Seville just to see how much of a red line you push that day, and then let's see what your goals are for the year ahead. But it's been absolutely amazing to have you on. We can't thank you enough for giving us the insights. It's going to be a long podcast, but I have to say it's been a very, very enjoyable podcast. I've loved every second of it, and it's been brilliant. And we look forward to watching you and your videographer go around the world and make great videos so we can follow along.
He's got to be on your case after that. Probably the first person on your podcast or a shine army.
I'm just trying to think that shit, maybe. So I was trying to bring it back to that end of the podcast.
Use that as the clip for it. Yeah, use that as the clip for it.
That's it.
It looks a lot worse on the webcam. But yeah, boys, it's been good buzz. Like, this is the first time I've done one of these. Great buzz.
The way you're going to be doing a lot more. So Anthony, thank you very much for being on this week's episode of the Any Given Monday podcast. That's it for myself, Anthony, and Eric. Take care.
Bye.